what is the actual interruption in the educational process today going to mean for our kids as they try to catch up next year?
So I think the first thing I would say about this, I remember the day after the governor announced that schools wouldn't reopen for the remainder of the school year. As you can imagine, a lot of my friends on social media are educators. And I kept seeing one post pop up over and over again from educators. And it was basically an open letter to parents that said, while you're working with your students in sort of working on schoolwork from home, don't worry about catching them up for the school year next year. That's my job as an educator. You worry about loving them, supporting them, making sure that they feel safe and connected, and doing those kinds of things that you can do as a family, and let us as a school community work on that catching the students up for next year. And I saw a lot of parents take a deep breath and say, thanks for giving me permission to care more about the emotional supports of my kids than whether or not I can help them with that math lesson. So that's the first thing I would say is, what's more important is that your students remember how much you love them and connected with them while they were home, and not whether or not you helped them with that algebra question. I would say that all of our districts will be working on what are called return to learn plans. And the department is putting out some really great guidance on that. And districts are really doing a deep dive with their staff and looking at, you know, how far did we get in the standards this year? And what do we need to sort of reteach as we come back in? What kind of connections do we need the third grade teacher to make with the fourth grade teacher so we know what was lost? How do we go back and try to, at the beginning of the year, really focus on those social connections and our rituals and our schedules? Because we're going to have a lot of people coming in. We do this at the beginning of every school year because we have that summer slide and that summer sort of change in structure. But we're going to have to be really thoughtful about how we reintegrate those schedules and those routines so that students feel comfortable with that. And we all have to start having conversations now that our normal is going to be different when we start back to school. The school that they walk into when they go back in the fall is not going to look like what they left. And so trying not to set up unrealistic expectations that everything is just going to be like it was, but maybe making it interesting. You know, what do you think it could look like? How could it be more interesting? I saw a picture of some students at a school that has reopened in another country, and the kids had social distancing hats on that had little propellers sticking out from them a few feet so that they knew the distance that they could be. So figuring out ways to make the things that we're going to have to be involved with fun and less threatening for students. But knowing that our districts, our educators are really focusing on that catching students up and trying not to let that be a lot more stress in the home right now. There's enough stress in our homes right now. And just maybe hug your kid more and worry about algebra a little less. And for all the math teachers out there, please forgive me for having just said that.